Booyah, we got some new leaked audio that Blake Lively was trying to submit as evidence, but does it help or hurt her case? We're going to play it on the show today. Plus, It Ends With Us cast, including Jenny Slate, Isabella Ferrer, and Colleen Hoover have officially been deposed. But who got out of it? We'll talk about it. And then we're going to go on a very wild deep dive into the life of Helen Keller. I don't know if you were following me on socials, but if you were, it was quite the adventure. Lots to get into. Let's dive in. This is No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What up, everybody in the club? Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope you guys had a lot of fun. Hope you guys got lit or got laid or got whatever you needed. I hope it brought you joy. Spent a lot of time with my family, my friends, all the things. I'm currently on a parasite cleanse because I realized I have a parasite in my gut and I had a gut infection. It's a whole thing. It's just like my body has been like completely out of whack, but we're finally getting it back into homeostasis and I'm going to have to do a whole damn parasite cleanse. We killed the parasite in my gut because it's hurting my immune system. I had to do like a whole blood panel and stool analysis. Like we did all the comprehensive everything. But yeah, so it's been quite an adventure. Shout out to Christina and Laura in the live chat. Woo woo, they are back. Our mods are amazing, incredible mods. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Laura. Love you guys. Christina, welcome back. Christina said, stops eating so much sushi or pork. Yeah, that's what my doctor said. She said it was probably too much sushi. Joy says, oh my God, Zach, did you lose a ton of weight? I am getting that test this Friday. Did I lose a ton of weight? I don't think I've lost a ton of weight. Are you trying to compliment me? Or I'm confused about what you're trying to say here. But no, I have not lost a lot, but I've been like really bloated. Like my body's been a little off. So we're getting it all back into, it's not a ringworm, it's a parasite. So it's been wreaking havoc in my body and depleting my immune system. Also, shout out to the Dodgers. Pluto said parasites usually make you lose weight. Well, they have not been. But also you're forgetting I'm on like a bulk. I'm trying to like bulk up, bulking season. So I guess I have noticed that my gains are not going as fast as I wanted them to. Zach, how does one figure out they have a parasite? And I just told you I did blood work and I did a comprehensive stool analysis. It was like a 3 days of stool collection and well, we checked the blood to make sure everything else was cool to figure out what was going on with my body. And so, yeah. Did you guys also not hear when I was promoting the parasite cleanse? This is completely off. The wellness company is no longer a sponsor of the podcast, but a few months ago now, I was like, hey guys, everyone should do a parasite check every once a year. And then came to do mine. And then it's like, surprise. I happen to have one. Time for mine. Debbie says she loves sushi. I love sushi. Holly says we all got parasites. Yes, we technically all have bacteria and parasites and all the things, but sometimes they can become problematic. And in my case, it has gotten problematic. If you live in the States and don't do annual cleanses, you have parasites. Exactly, Sarah. Exactly. Zach, I heard you on a cleanse since the full moon. Oof, when was the full moon? I feel like that was a while ago. That's a very long cleanse. They think I got mine from the dog park with fake grass. Probably. Yeah. I mean, listen. You live with dogs and you live in downtown, like things happen. What are you taking for the cleanse? Okay, well, today's not about my cleanse. But yeah, I'm on a ton of meds to help kill the parasite. Ivermectin and something else, and then I'm taking a different like antibiotic to address the bacterial issue and like all the things. So many things. Sorry. Get your booster. No, I don't do that. That's one thing I don't do. Anyway, that said, oh my God, wait. Debbie says, I've never done a cleanse. I didn't even make it through the 5 days of Prolon. Oh my God, I just got the Prolon. I was going to do the Prolon cleanse. I'm actually very excited about the Prolon cleanse. Already started dipping in there. Okay, that said, let's dive in. So let's start with the depositions. We'll do all the Blake stuff up front, and then we'll end with the Helen Keller stuff. But just, I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to stick around for the Helen Keller stuff because it is quite the adventure. If you were following me on Instagram over the weekend, then you will know my reels were wild. Just plain Zack on Instagram. We were diving into everything. She had a secret lover. She was flying planes. She was like Mia. I fly like paper, get high like planes. If you catch me at the border, I got visas in my name. If you come around, hey, I'll make them all day. I get one done in a second if you wait. So Debbie said, it was the tea. I don't like plain tea without sweetener. Why not? Tea's good. Corbin said, I'm here for the Helen Keller. We'll end with the Helen Keller. Let's see. Christina says, well, shoot, I should do this. Is your code still active? Yeah, I think it's twc.health/nofilter if you want to do the Parasite cleanse. twc.health/nofilter. The promo should still be active. But they're not. I mean, that's just like for you to try. I don't get paid by them anymore. They're no longer a sponsor of mine, but I do like a lot of their products. Okay, so the depositions have begun, and we have officially heard from Jenny Slate, Isabella Ferrer or Ferrer. I don't know how do you say it. I was thinking it was Ferrer, but I know Billy Bush always pronounces it Ferrer. So I'm not sure, but Isabella, she was young Lily. She was deposed. Jenny Slate was deposed. Colleen Hoover was deposed. They all had their depositions. We had Leslie Sloan that was deposed. We had Blake's agent, Warren Zavala. We had her makeup artist. We had Baldoni's team. Like so many people were deposed, but obviously we know Taylor Swift was not deposed and Ryan Reynolds was not deposed. Interesting. So lots of people sat for their depositions. It was not a big hookus. Unclear if Brandon Sklenar has been deposed. Very uncertain, up in the air at this point. We haven't heard his name float around, but we definitely have heard of Colleen Hoover, Jenny Slate, and Isabella Ferrer. We also had Jamie Heath, Jennifer Abel, Melissa Nathan, Baldoni, Steve Sarowitz. Like everybody's getting deposed. Blake Lively got deposed. It seemed like the only one people really cared about was Blake Lively. Her deposition was the one that people were the most concerned about, understandably, because that was the biggest one. But now we have new leaked audio from Claire Ayoub. Remember Claire Ayoub? She was the lady that came. She was working on another Wayfair project. She was claiming that Baldoni verbally abused her on the set of her movie with why am I blanking on the name? Wayfair. So interessante. But Claire, I don't know. I don't trust Claire. I don't trust her as far as I can throw her, and I don't think I can throw her very far because I can't throw anybody. But we now have her audio. Her movie was called Empire Waist. I think it was about plus size something. It was about the big girls. She was like championing for all the big girls, and it was directed by Claire, but also Rainn Wilson was on it. So you'll hear Rainn Wilson referenced in a lot of the audio as well. So we'll play the audio. It's very long. It's like almost 40 minutes. I think it's like 36 minutes, but there are 3 clips that are about 3-ish minutes that we'll get into each of those 3 clips. The rest of it is not as relevant to the conversation in regards to why this is relevant, because Blake Lively is saying, oh yeah, he said he was going to protect us the way, or Steve Sarowitz said he would protect the studio the same way Israel protected against Hamas. And that was a quote that Blake Lively used. And then we got the declaration from Claire, and Claire's like, oh my God, I was verbally abused by Justin Baldoni on my movie, and I wanted nothing to do with him, and blah, blah, blah. Right. And now here we are. So let's get into it. Let's play it. But actually, before we play the clips, nothing new came out of the depositions from what I've heard. We haven't gotten any transcripts outside of Blake's agent, Baldoni's agent, and the makeup artist, which we discussed on the show last week. Nothing really new there, and we haven't gotten any new excerpts from the others just yet. I'm sure we will at some point, but yeah, we're going to take a quick ad break to shout out this week's sponsor, which is Wayfair. Wayfair, they got just what you need. So as the holidays approach, you can always Get what you need to personalize your home with Wayfair. You can shop holiday decor for every room in the house, whether it's Christmas trees, wreaths, or other inflatables for the front yard. Wayfair is your one-stop shop. You can even refresh your guest room with new bedding, linens, throw pillows, accent chairs for way less. If you have family coming into town, you can make holiday hosting a breeze with quality cookware that will wow just about any guest. I love Wayfair. Like I told you guys, I did some Wayfair shopping. I'm going to do a little more shopping this week. I got a new carpet for my living room because, you know, I have dogs and I have to get carpets often because when you have, well, I guess the dogs are starting to settle down. They're not puppies anymore. So I'm now getting to like invest in pieces. And so I've been investing in cute little items for my living room and just for the apartment overall. Even this new plant. Remember, everyone's like, oh my God, Zach, I love the new plant. I got this on Wayfair. I'm telling you, Wayfair is your one-stop shop. From beddings and bath basics, kids' rooms, home decor, kitchen essentials, living room items. They have everything. There's something for every style in every home, no matter your space or budget. Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your home goals this holiday season with endless inspiration for every space and every budget. For all your season must-haves, from furniture and holiday decor to appliances and cookware, it's all in one convenient place, because hosting just got a whole lot easier with Wayfair. Get organized, refreshed, and get ready for the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. Okay. Let's roll the audio, because there's a lot that we're going to get into. So we do have the transcript, and so there you have both. You got both options. So we have the full transcript. This is Claire and this is Steve. So you can actually go through, it's what, how many pages? 30. So it's 37 pages. So you can read through it. I read through it this morning and then I listened to the full audio recording because it was shared on this site. The Claire Ayoub secret recording is here. So Clark NT67, shout out to Clark NT67. Shout out Clark. Woo woo. Clark is the one that actually went to the courthouse, because so what happened was the judge is like, okay, the public wants to see what's going on, so you need to actually reveal the audio, this secret audio recording that Blake Lively was using to be like, Steve Sarowitz wants to bury us. He wants to end us. He said he's going to destroy us the way Israel tried to destroy Hamas because they were protecting themselves, yada, yada, yada. We now have it in its full context, because the Wayfair parties were saying, hold on, that little sound bite, that quote that they're using was taken severely out of context. And also Steve Sarowitz didn't even know he was being recorded at the time of this audio recording. So Clark, shout out to Clark, who did the Lord's work, marched down to the courthouse and got the physical CD copies, because then Blake Lively's team was like, well, we don't know how to release the audio. How do we upload it to the docket? We don't know how to do that. Like, we're dumb. We can steal Jennifer Abel's phone and steal all her text messages, but you know, when it comes to like revealing audio to the public, like, we're a little dumb with that. So we're just going to put it on hard CDs and we'll just drop it off at the courthouse. If anybody wants to get their dust off their old CD player, they can go down to the courthouse and listen to it. So luckily, thank you to Clark. Clark got the audio and made a transcript and made it available for everybody to access, and did a whole website for it. So the website is called docketupdates.com. So you can go to docketupdates.com and you get the full thing. I'm going to play the clips that are, in my mind, the most relevant pieces. So the first one comes at timestamp 12:57, and this is where Steve Sarowitz is sharing with Claire, because I guess they were funding her big girl film, because she was trying to, you know, support all the big girl. What was it? Waist, something about her waist. And so she was doing that film, and Wayfair invested in that film. And so she was coming to Steve, and she's like, thank you so much for supporting all the big girls. Put your hands up. All the big ladies, all the big ladies, all the big ladies, all the big ladies. Okay, so this is Claire saying that, or this is them talking about how exhausting it must have been on the set of It Ends With Us. I'm starting this at 12:57, timestamp 12:57.
We'll do our best to.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. But I also know, coming off the It Ends With Us stuff, I just want to say I see you, and it is exhausting. It's exhausting. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Jamie was the most exhausted out of
sure.
everybody.
Was he was, I'm sure, the go-between with Sony, right?
He was the go-between. He was the one who was taking the brunt of the hits, because you didn't see the brunt of the hits, like the slam jobs on us.
Oh, I didn't.
No, because nobody saw it.
Right.
Jamie was stopping it. So Jamie was stopping the worst of the worst.
Oh.
There was a point where they were trying to slam the Baha'i Faith. He got that done and out. So, basically...
Who was? Was it Sony or was it Public? Yikes. That's icky. That's icky.
Oh, they went after everything we had. Luckily, I was out of it. So, like,
I'm glad.
nobody had mentioned me. But that's because I'm a nobody. I'm nobody.
We know who you are.
Yeah, but
it's kind of a blessing. Let me tell you, it's kind of a blessing.
I know. Well, that's right. No, there's all these things that, because Blake and Ryan paid for the movie. I'm like, really? Really? Send me a check.
Every time I've seen that, or some of the comments I see, or on the flip, they'll say that Blake sold her cut back to, and I was like, that's not how it works. You own the footage. Like, that's not how it, and people will say it so confidently. And they'll be like, yeah, because they bankrolled the movie. And I'm like, that's not how that's not how it works.
Right. But we just sit there quietly and let them think what they want. And, ultimately we're not going to, but Blake and Ryan are billionaires. I don't think they are, actually.
No. And even if then, like, everyone has a stake in everything. It's a lot. And yeah, I think it was just fanning the flames and people... I saw this so I started following this great TikToker who is a PR expert, and she specifically talked about how August is like the worst thing for something to happen because people blow it up because it's like very quiet. And so like looking at that, she's fascinating, but she basically is like a lot of the biggest dramas have happened in August when people are like out of office at these like publications, and people just kind of run rampant because it's still summer and just blow everything up. But no matter.
So, yes, August obviously is a slow news time. But the interesting thing about this audio recording, too, is the time that it was recorded, which is August 29th, 2024, which is right after Blake Lively allegedly saw the Jennifer Abel text messages. So I'm not saying that Claire was influenced or paid or encouraged to go and record this call, but the timing of it was very interesting. This was during the big PR storm. Then suddenly, next thing you know, the text messages get accessed by Leslie Sloan. And then, next thing you know, we have the whole Van Sham drama that comes up. So the timing of it is interesting. This was at the end of August of last year. Why Claire's even inserting herself. And this is before it even like really blew up, right? Lots to get into. But here's the next clip where she talks about her experience working with Rainn Wilson. And then I believe Sarowitz also kind of tries to compare Rainn to Justin Baldoni, and how, Baldoni always had great sets, and the sets that he fostered were always very supportive and collaborative, and everybody always felt pretty safe. But it's interesting that none of Claire's concerns get brought up about Justin Baldoni here. And I'm just curious as to what her motivation in even recording this audio with Steve Sarowitz. My understanding is she is claiming that she recorded this because she didn't want them to influence her to like change her mind about Baldoni in any way. And so she wanted to record, I don't know, her reason for recording this call, unbeknownst to Sarowitz, also very sus. I don't know what the real situation is. Again, the timing of it feels convenient because Blake Lively had just accessed the text messages around this time. I have questions, but here's the next clip where they talk about the comparison with Rainn Wilson.
He's like, I don't want them to feel intimidated by me.
Here she's referring to Rainn Wilson. She says when Rainn came on the set, he didn't want anybody to feel intimidated by him on the set of their movie.
Like that was, and I relayed that to the team. I was like, Rainn wants you to know. And he walked the walk when he got there. He like shook everyone's hand, including the extras who had no lines and like no names in the movie. And he's like, I'm Rainn. It's so nice to meet you. Let's have fun. And like when I tell you, because that was like the vibe we were really cultivating on this set of making sure people felt safe. And wow, what a gift. What a gift.
The irony is Justin is just like that. And like you hear things in the end, and it ends with us set. So you hear two different sets. It's like, wait a second, which set was it? Was it the set that Brandon Sklenar talked about, where it was amazing?
Yeah.
Or was it the set that Brandon Sklenar talked about?
Honestly, it's just, it's so tricky, especially, yeah, I don't know. Because I wasn't there, so I don't know what it was
I
like.
was.
You were there. Was it bad?
No,
Oh, God.
Justin never has a bad set. Yes, it was the worst set he's ever been on, but no, it wasn't bad. I was there on set. It was, Justin is really kind and loving, and he's like Rain.
Yeah.
So if you imagine Rain's running a set,
Yeah.
it's the Baha'i set. It's never going to be like that. No, it was just everything was made up. It was manufactured,
Oh,
and it was manufactured on purpose in order to take Justin down.
it sucks. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry because I know the intentions of making the movie were with such a purpose. I'm sorry to have this going on. I'm
The good
hoping
news
it's
is it didn't take Justin down.
no. I'm
People,
hoping it's winding down. Fingers crossed.
I think it's going well. Hollywood's still got a hold of it.
Yeah. That's because it's quiet. Again, August, man. August. I'll send you this video from this TikToker. I love her. I love her. She is just like, she is a pro. I think she's in her like 50s. And she like breaks it down to like educate people to also make them better consumers of being like, hey, is what you're reading true? Or, what is a source? Like, who could it be? Like breaking it down to everything to make people more informed readers too. Because, yeah, when I saw everything blowing up, I was just like, oh Jesus, like it just and just yeah. I was actually in Chicago for a wedding, for a friend's wedding that weekend, and I was just like had rejoined TikTok to like share the trailer, and then I was like, oh my God, what's going on? But
Yeah,
yeah,
I've read more of that. I've never was on TikTok before. I've read enough, but
right,
seems like TikTok, Instagram are pretty pro Justin.
yeah.
There's Reddit is a little bit more even, but Reddit just
Yeah.
seems mean spirited.
Reddit can be
Like,
very weird. I've been on some pages that are like, so like for plus size fashion and stuff, it's very supportive. But I think it's also, there are different corners of it where people go just to be like terrible.
yeah,
Reddit freaks me out. Reddit freaks me
Well,
out.
they're both assholes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No,
But,
Reddit freaks me out.
you
It's
have
just,
no idea what you're talking
that's
about.
the
You haven't
thing.
read anything. You haven't watched anything. You're just trying to be mean.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. We're also there's a big push right now about parasocial relationships. Like I don't know if you know the singer Chapel Roan. She just
Okay, and then she gets into Chapel Roan and she talks about how Chapel Roan is setting boundaries, and it's so cool that Chapel Roan tells her fans that, like, remember that was a conversation that was happening last summer as well with Chapel Roan, where Chapel Roan was like getting upset with her fans, and she's like, I don't have to take a picture with you. I don't want to take a picture with you. I don't owe you anything. And so then Claire, naturally, because Claire looks like, one of those lesbians with a stick up her butt. Claire then talks about how, like, oh, it's so good that Chapel Roan, like, you're right, like the public doesn't have access to you, and they think that they know you, but they don't know you, and it's good for her to be setting boundaries. And like that, listen, that was a conversation we had last summer, and I agree that there are certain boundaries certain fans need to have, but also the arena that you're getting into. If you're joining the NFL, you know what the casualties of playing on that field are going to be. You know what that comes with, but also that if you're on that field, you're going to have access to some of the greatest top performing coaches and sports medicine therapists, and the money that you're going to get. Like, there's a trade-off for everything. And so when you join the NFL, sure, there's physical risk that you're taking by injuring your body, but you get so much in return, and you have to make that choice of, like, do I want to become a big giant pop star and travel all around the world and have these fans? And some of them are not going to know boundaries, and there is this Hollywood side of things. And yeah, I shouldn't be an asshole to my fans because they're the ones that are buying my records, and they're the ones that are streaming my music and supporting me, you know? And so I think the whole Chapel Roan thing, like, it's so stupid in today's like modern, over therapized, let's coddle every little baby from, that's 48 years old and still needs, mommy to buy them that toy that they wanted at Target when they were 4 years old, and they were told no that one time, and they still can't deal with it, and they still work it out with their therapist to this day. Claire seems like that kind of girl. She's like, oh, I still have childhood trauma. And I'm like, you have talked about it for 10 years with your therapist. When are you going to work through this, girlfriend? Anyway, she gets into a tangent about Chapel Roan and Chapel Roan setting boundaries. Gwen says there's no way she was afraid while having this conversation when she claimed in her declaration. Yeah, she said she was afraid of Sarowitz, and that's why she had to record this conversation, because she was afraid that they would try to convince her to let Baldoni back on the set of her Big Girl film. Whatever. Jen says, so Claire is agreeing when Steve says that Justin's set was positive, but then she claims in court that he was verbally abusive towards her. So this woman is so slimy. Yeah, I mean, listen, to play devil's advocate, don't get mad at me. To play devil's advocate, Claire is basically, she's talking to the big executive, right? The guy that's financing her film. So to a degree, there's going to be some ass kissing, right? Like when your big boss encourages you to come in for a meeting, you walk into their office, like you're going to be so sweet and you're going to be really nice. You're going to be a little, you're going to pander a little bit. You're going to make sure you go above and beyond to please them. There's going to be some people pleasing in that. So I give Claire a little bit of credit for that, but also the thing that she was so afraid and she had to record the call, like to me, her story doesn't add up. Trish says, I don't think Steve cares that this combo is out there because he seems like he means whatever he says. He's got nothing to hide, but definitely would put so much distrust on Claire. Yeah, you can't trust Claire. Just like 303 said, never trust a hoe. Yeah, no, I don't think Sarowitz cares about what's on this conversation either, because I don't think he said anything bad. And we'll get into the most incriminating part. Yes, this is Claire and Steve Sarowitz. The recording doesn't match her declaration at all. No, and here's the thing. I don't think they ever expected the public to get access to the actual recording. But here's the thing. If you're going to secretly record somebody and then try to use that as evidence against them, you best believe it's going to end up on the docket. You best believe that the public wants to be interested. But here's the thing. They didn't think any of this through because this was happening last August. This all happened last August with the Van Zandt sham subpoena and all that shit and secretly recording Steve Sarowitz. They all thought that they were going to get away with this. And yet here we are a year later, and there's like, fuck, we didn't think that this was still going to be going on a year later, number one. And number two, we didn't think that any of this information was going to be out there. So whatever she filed in her declaration, she thought was going to be protected. And now the whole world gets, not just the jury and the judge, but the whole world gets to listen to this secret audio recording that Claire got. So yeah, I agree with you, Michelle. It does not match what the sentiment in her declaration. Michelle says, why is she even in this? It's really weird. And recording a call to make sure they don't influence her doesn't make any sense when she is clearly trying to get some sort of dirt from someone who was actually there. Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. Why are you recording the call? And even if you did record the call, it had nothing to do with It Ends With Us, right? Like you're too busy recording the call for your own big girl film. So go help all the big girls with the big girl film and leave It Ends With Us alone, because It Ends With Us has nothing to do with it. Why are you inserting yourself into this? She's fashion. Yes, Holly, she has a fashion line. She said, yes, a fashion line. Zack is mimicking her chatter. Am I mimicking her chatter? Mrs. Creep says, I would be so embarrassed if I exposed my own self like this. Yeah. It's just interesting. I'm very curious as to how she thought that this was all going to play out. She's so much like Lena Dunham from Girls, the Hannah character. I never watched Girls. Enrique says, of course they side with Blake. They're threatened by logic and common sense. Breaks for Break says she's just sucking up to the billionaire who funded her movie. This is so silly. Yeah. That's kind of the sentiment I got. I didn't think she was scared of him. But again, you can rewrite things later on when you don't think that the public is going to have access to the audio, the actual audio. And then the judge said, release the audio. And then like, okay, well, we're going to put it on a CD because nobody really listens to CDs. And then we have Clark who came up out here, and Clark said, hold on, wait a minute. I'm going to get the audio. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to do my own little website, and I got this. So thank you, Clark. Everybody, class, say collectively, thank you, Clark. Andrea says the fans are what make you. If she wants fans, then give them what they want. You don't want to give it to them, then play to empty stadiums. Yes, that's referring to Chaperone. Yes, I agree. Beth said, you're going to make a great parent. Am I? I hope so. Nobody wants inflict childhood trauma that never ends on their children. Whoops. Be bladder like Blake, just word salad. Yeah, there was a lot of that. This is embarrassing for Blake Lively. I think this looks really bad for Blake Lively. But so out of this entire 37-minute audio recording, secret audio recording, because Sarowitz had no idea that she was recording this, which, mind you, is also very good key context, is he didn't know she was recording this. So he's just telling her the truth, and he's just, shooting the shit Oops, sorry. Whoopsies. Sorry. Here, let me get we got tooted and booted for a hot second, but let me pull the audio back up. I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. What happened? I'm back. Don't worry. Everyone's like, "Where did you go?" It was a hot second. I accidentally flicked the mouse and it took me out of the studio for a hot second. If this was California, you needed 2-party consent. Yes, I know. But Sarowitz, that's why Sarowitz was like, release the audio. I don't care what it says on it. Okay, so let's get to the more incriminating part of the audio. This is what Blake Lively used. Here we go. Oh, wait. This last timestamp is at 24:22. And this is where he gets into the comments that he makes about Israel and comparing it to Blake.
Scary. It can be super scary. I don't know. But I'm sorry it's been so. Are you able to take a vacation soon, Steve? Do you get to rest your brain?
No, but mine isn't so bad. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Jamie was working till 11 o'clock at night. I just checked in occasionally. Yeah. There was a week that was long for me when we thought we were going to have to go into court.
Oh, and God.
I still don't know that we won't have to go into court.
Sure.
I just know that for right now, it seems like détente. And then if they persist and they push to the limits, then we'll go to court. And then it's all on me. Then I'll be working harder than Jamie did because
it's going to be protecting the studio, right?
I will protect the studio like.
Objection, Your Honor. Leading. Objection. Here, sorry. I just had to interject because that was a leading question.
Know that for right now, it seems like détente. And then if they persist and they push to the limits, then we'll go to court. And then it's all on me. Then I'll be working harder than Jamie did because
it's going to be protecting the studio, right?
I will protect the studio like Israel protected itself from Hamas. So there were 39,000 dead bodies. There will be 2 dead bodies when I'm done, minimum. And so not dead, but dead to me. You're dead to me.
You're dead to me.
That kind of dead, but dead to a lot of people. If they ever get me to that point, then I'll make it worth their while because I'm going to spend a lot of money to make sure the studio is protected. But I don't think we'll go there.
Yeah, I hope not. As someone who
that's not the world I want to live in.
No. I hope it goes away. I just hope it goes away, or that people lose interest or realize it's harming everyone's career.
Yeah, I think that we'll just probably for years.
Yeah.
This is not going to go away. I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon.
Yeah.
We'll have to be defensive for years because there'll be stuff coming at us. I will be defensive for years. So if they ever cross the line, then I will go after them.
Yeah.
And Jamie at one point called me up and said, "I think we're going to need you."
Yeah.
And we have lawyers ready to go. We have our press people, our PR people working. We haven't had to engage the lawyers much yet.
That's good. That's a good sign. That's a good sign because that gets ugly.
Nothing's really hit our studio. It's never basically people love Justin and they still love Justin.
Yeah, that's good.
And if you meet Justin, how could you not love Justin?
I know. But yeah, I'm just glad that I'm just sending all the good energy. I hope it stays safe. I hope it stays safe. It's tough.
You know what? Just you were lucky you had a production like that. Almost all of our production is almost all of our productions are like that.
I'm glad. Ooh, I also heard. Wait, just total tangent. ADHD.
And then she changes the subject onto something else. Because he's now saying like, oh, all of our sets are good and everything feels safe and everyone feels safe. And I'm glad you, Claire, you felt safe on your set too, remember? And she's like, oh wait, sorry, no, those aren't my talking point. The bullet points Blake gave me. We're not supposed to talk about how safe my set was. We're not allowed to talk about that. Steve Sarowitz, we're only supposed to talk about how you want to destroy Blake because she's like Hamas. It's crazy. Michelle says, dang, he is so not saying anything bad about Justin or Heath or Wayfair. Well, no, he's going to, he's going to protect them at all costs and also assure her because she's now, he has a vested financial interest in her. Sarah says, once again, all about context. Blake would have just deleted the whole context minus that one sentence. Exactly. Now you hear that full sentence. in its full context. And he does talk about Blake further on. This is at the 3650 mark, I believe. Let's see.
She was so cool, calm, collected, and confident. And nice.
Which is what you want, and just professional, right? You want someone who's professional, who like.
I believe he's talking about Scarlett Johansson in this moment. He's going to get into Blake.
It's so interesting because you work with so many people, and almost everybody's nice. And then there's Blake, who's she's totally different than everyone else.
I'm sorry.
It's like, not to say anything bad about her, but
no.
She's different.
There you go.
And I don't. I think for the most part, most people see what we're doing, see we're nice, and they're nice back.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't perfectly nice. And I just think some people forgot to learn how to be nice.
The industry. I left it for a while, Steve. I left it for a while. There was a reason I was originally going to make this movie in my hometown. It's a tough, icky place. It can be a very icky place.
I think that there's a lot of good people out there. So what we're doing is we're figuring out who we want to work with, who we don't want to work with, and then we'll just work with them, and then it's done. And anyway, have a wonderful day. I'll see you.
You too. I hope you enjoy your break. It was good to see you.
Tell all your friends.
I will. No, I'm going to send the invite out. Absolutely.
And they're talking about her film premiere. So what is she saying was the point of the call? I don't really remember Michelle, do you remember what the point of this call even was? Didn't she say initially he was the one that wanted this call and she didn't even know what it was? I don't know what the point of the call was, but he does talk about Blake, and he does say that, he says, to summarize everything that we just listened to, that the set wasn't as bad as the chatter about it was, that it was fine. It was Baldoni's worst set, but it wasn't bad by any means. It definitely seemed like Blake was a problem on set. He just says, they want to, in this last clip that we listened to, he wants to work with people that are good people and good to work with and easy to work with. And Blake Lively did not appear to be like that at all. Blake Lively appeared to be the complete opposite. He said she's different. Blake is she's different. What's his exact quote? She's different. Wow, that's so different. People say that. That's their nice way of trying to be like, yeah, yeah. He said, it's so interesting because you work with so many people and almost everybody is nice. He said, almost everybody is nice. And then there's Blake, who she's totally different than anyone else. Almost everybody is nice. And then there's Blake, who she's totally different than anyone else. And Claire's like, sorry, I'm sorry. And then he's like, not to say anything bad about her, but different. She's like, there you go. Well, there you go. And I don't even think for the most part, most people see what we're doing. See, we're nice and they're nice back, even if they weren't perfectly nice. And I just think, some people forgot to learn how to be nice. And they're like, well, that's the industry, right? Blake Lively is not nice. She's a not nice lady. Blake's different. Yes, she's different. She's different. Michelle said, sounds like it was about her promo for the movie, but nothing about Justin being there or not. Yeah. That seemed like what it was, because he was giving her the Wayfair theater. The Wayfair movie theater is what Sarowitz was giving to Claire to use for her Big Girl movie. So Lord, she sure is different, Gwen says. Yeah. That Blake Lively, she's different. So I think that this audio recording looks really bad for Blake. Really, really bad, because it doesn't prove the point that she's trying to make about him trying to destroy everything. You destroy Blake and Ryan out of spite or out of retaliation. It's like, no, he's like, I need to protect the studio, and understandably, yeah, he does need to protect the studio. That's a big one. So Holly says, roll up to the scene with my ceiling missing. I don't get it. Enrique says, different equals a disgusting person, bad at business, terrible actress, mediocre in everything she does, and thinks that she's destined for greatness when she's just a +1. There, I said it. And then Cheercake says, different equals bitch. Lee says it looks bad for Claire. It does look really bad for Claire. Solaris says, I think this audio recording is a nothing burger. No, it's totally nothing. But the fact that this is what they were using to be like, yeah, see, Steve Sarowitz is trying to destroy us. But again, when you take that one clip out of context, and also the context of it being a secretly recorded phone call, like it's just, it wasn't a phone call though, right? Wasn't it like an in-person meeting that she recorded him? Is my understanding? No, I think it was in person. Because at the beginning of it, you hear her and she's like talking to somebody and she's like, thank you. And then some lady's like, thanks. All right, talk to you guys later. So Holly says it's the 2 Chainz. I'm different. Yep, I'm different. I'm different. Yep, I'm different. Trish says, worried that Mr. Sarowitz might pressure me to abandon the prior agreement that I had reached with Wayfair. I recorded our meeting. Yes. So this is, okay, thank you so much, Trish. Trish pulled the exact quote from Claire's declaration where she talks about this. And she says that she was worried that Mr. Sarowitz might pressure her to abandon the prior agreement that I had reached with Wayfair. I recorded our meeting. So why would he pressure her to abandon their prior agreement? That's what's very confusing, because there's no reference to the prior agreement. She doesn't bring it up. He doesn't bring it up. Again, he doesn't even know that he's being recorded at this time. So I don't know, Claire. It's not adding up. It's not adding up. I'm confused. Very, very confused. Claire. I don't trust a Claire. I think she's a liar, pants on fire. I would love for Judge Judy to get a taste of her. Because Judge Judy wouldn't be having any of that. Nothing. It's just interesting that they really thought that this was going to be the big thing, the big smoking gun, right? Please. So, was it a Zoom meeting? Maybe? I'm not sure. No, Claire Bear. Michelle says the guy from the agency who made fun of Baldoni was way worse. What she said wasn't even bad. No. Gwen says, think Claire is done with her 15 minutes of so-called fame. I don't think this is, it was a Zoom meeting. Yeah. Trish said Zoom makes sense, and imagine they're looking at each other while speaking. We need the video. I know. Can we get the video? Well, no, but wouldn't the video have been recorded? I guess you don't always record on Zoom for the most part, but still. Holly says Justin didn't even handle marketing for his own movie. I know. Blake's attorneys are quiet about this recording. It tells me that they don't want to touch it either. They were the ones that brought it up. They were the ones that referenced the secret recording. They were the ones that got Claire to file her declaration. They started this shit. And Wayfair's like, okay, you started it. Let's release the audio. Release the tapes. Blake's out there trying to protect her evidence like it's the Epstein files. And Baldoni's team is like, let's let it go. Toss it out. Let the public hear all of it. Full context. She could have recorded the call with her phone. Yes, I believe that's what she did, is recorded it with her phone. All right. Joy says 100%. You started it. I will finish it. Period. So, yeah. What if she recorded more calls to sell them to Blake? All right, well, now that's getting... Again, you have to remember the timing and the context of this. This was back in August. This is before shit hit the fan. This is before it all blew up. But I did want to, again, your whack plan, Blake, your whack plan failed again. Yeah, it didn't really work out because... But you can even hear in the audio, Sarowitz is saying, I'm hoping it doesn't go to court. I don't think it'll go to court. If it does, then we'll have to like fully, guns a-blazing, which understandably they have to defend themselves, which is what they're doing. But like, it's just crazy that he was like, we don't want to go to court, but if we have to, then it looks like we might. And here we are going to court. Delo Vicasa says, I wonder if Blake is fuming when she heard that ScarJo was nice and cool, but Blake is mad. Blake is different. Yeah, they loved working with Scarlett Johansson. He praised her. So, well. Solaris says, do you think Blake ever thought this declaration audio would be released? She thought people would take it at face value. Yeah, well, there's a lot of that, though. We'll get into Helen Keller in just a sec. But there's a lot of that with the Blake just thinks like, I'm going to give you a little piece and we'll spin the narrative on it and nobody's going to question it further. Like, what? Why would you question a woman? Why would you question in a post Me Too world? Why would you ever question a woman? How dare you trying to silence women? And then guess what? Fuck around and find out. And guess what? You fucked it up for everybody, Blake. Now everybody's got to deal with it. So that's where we at. Okay, let's get into the rest of it all. Oh, let's talk about, okay, we need to get into Helen Keller, okay, because there's a lot to dive into there. There's a lot to unpack. I went on a full Helen Keller deep dive. I decided I needed to learn more about the life of Helen Keller, because I was just thinking about it the other day, and I was just like, somebody had mentioned that she flew a plane. And I was like, no, she didn't. I don't remember that being in the history books. Like, I was like, what do I remember about Helen Keller? Okay, she was blind and she was deaf. And then there was that 303 song where they were like, do the Helen Keller and talk with your hips. And so I was like, yeah, Helen Keller. And I was like, wait, was she a model? I was like, I just remember her being like, you know, this extraordinary woman who was blind and deaf and like defeat the odds, right? And then I went to actually Google her and be like, let's actually look into the story of Helen Keller. And trust me, when you look into Helen Keller, because I just have these like wild rabbit hole deep dives, which worries me sometimes because I'm just like, I'm going to end up being like a flat earther one of these days. Just wait. But someone was calling you gay Candace Owens for the Helen Keller. Yes. They were saying I was the gay Candace Owens. Do you want to play the clips? Let's play I can either break it down for you here on the show, or I can just play the reels. Like we can, let's live through the reels together, actually, because it was quite the journey. And I just feel like all of the tea is in the reels. There's a full, I can do a full retelling of the story here. But so look, I did 4 stories. The first one was about Helen Keller in general. Then it was about Helen Keller flying a plane. Then it was about all the people getting mad at me for talking about Helen Keller. And then it was Helen Keller's secret lover. So, let's play. Okay, everyone says play the clips, play the clips. Okay, so we're going to play the clips so we can relive this all together because it's quite the time. Okay, here is clip number 1. Conspiracy theorists or anything, but Helen Keller. There ain't no way that lady did all the things that they said that she did. No way. I don't believe Helen Keller was out there marching for gay rights. Look, the internet says that she was a suffragist, a pacifist, a socialist, and she was a supporter of birth control. Now, why the hell is Helen Keller a supporter of birth control? Did she ever use birth control? It's hard to be an advocate for something that you've never even tried. And if she did try it, I have follow-up questions. They also said that she was a big donor to the NAACP in support of people of color. Do they not realize Helen Keller doesn't see color? Literally. She got a bachelor's degree. They said she wrote 12 books. Helen Keller was DEI before DEI was DEI. Maybe that's what happened to Amelia Earhart. Even better, they said that Helen Keller was an advocate against prostitution and syphilis. And I didn't even make that up. Google it. Google it right now. You can read all about how she thought that poverty led to prostitution, which led to syphilis, which led to blindness. And the internet says that she was even on the FBI watch list. This lady was blind and deaf. What are they watching for? What was the government worried? She was going to save too many prostitutes from getting syphilis? I was in West Hollywood. There's a giant billboard that says that we're in a syphilis tsunami. So unfortunately, Helen Keller failed. I don't know. I have follow-up questions. Okay, when did Helen Keller fly a plane? I just Googled it, and apparently she flew a plane for 20 minutes. When she is blind and deaf, how do you teach a lady how to fly via Braille? Like what? How do you do that? How do you teach her how to fly through the air when she's never even seen air before? What in the Amelia Earhart? Also, how did Amelia Earhart get lost, but Helen Keller found a way to fly around? What's next? Helen Keller landed on the moon? At this point, they keep trying to Mandela affect us. I don't even know who, we know who Mandela is, but we don't know why he keeps affecting it. affecting our brains, I don't know. I'm very confused. When did history rewrite itself? How do we break out of the Matrix? When did Helen Keller fly a plane? That is news to me. Somebody is glitching with the Matrix, and I don't like it. Mandela is over here affecting the Matrix. When did Helen Keller fly a plane? Oh, she's over here saving all the prostitutes from syphilis, and now she's flying planes? Since when? I can't even fly a plane, and I can see and hear. And even if there was a man in my ear and he was telling me how to fly the plane, I still couldn't do it. And all my senses work just fine. So someone is glitching with the Matrix, and I see you. I see you and I hear you, unlike Helen Keller. Okay, so my videos about Helen Keller, I did not realize I was going to be upsetting the whole Blind Lives Matter coalition. To be clear, I am not questioning Helen Keller's abilities. I'm questioning her resume. You know, it's like when you lie a little bit to get a job and then you show up and they expect you to fly a plane and it's like, surprise, bitch is blind. So someone told me that I'm too hard to follow lately. Am I? Because like you push a button. Follow, unfollow. Like, it's not that hard to find. I mean, unless you're Helen Keller. And then another woman came in and she's just like, Zack, you're so insensitive. What if somebody said this about your brother? First of all, if you said anything about my brother, I'm ready to throw hands. Let's go. But also, if anybody ever tried to come up to the table and be like, your brother is flying planes, I'd be like, the hell he is? Who let him do that? And get him down. Get him down right now. Listen, when he was little, he would climb up the side of the house and go running all across the roof, and we did not condone. That was too high in the sky even then. So whoever is letting him fly planes, get him down. Tell me where he is and I will get him down myself. Do not tell Ethan that he can fly a plane, because trust me, once you get up in the air, he will get anxiety, and that's a whole other mission to get him down. So yeah, the whole my brother argument, not really that effective, because trust me, the last thing my family is going to do is tell you that he's out there flying planes in the sky, and if he were, we would be the first ones to bring him back down. But also, none of you guys knew Helen Keller. Why are you defending her so hard? You're like, this is ableist. You're going against the disability and the people and the thing. I'm not going against it. I just have questions about the story, right? 12 books. Helen Keller was blind and deaf, and she, drove a plane. To me, I have questions, but it's mostly coming from like the blind community, not so much the deaf community, because obviously like I know better. I didn't put closed captioning on my videos, but like I'm jokes, guys, jokes. It's called comedy, but okay, I know I'm down the Helen Keller rabbit hole, but I just found out she had a man, a lover, and they were like Romeo and Blind Juliet. Okay, so his name was Peter Fagin, and he was her secretary. Why she needed a secretary, what he was secretarying, I don't really know. But apparently he learned how to communicate with his fingers, okay? I have questions. It was called finger spelling, and he would spell the words in her hand, but I don't know how she knew what the words were. I thought she was learning via Braille, even though she's blind and deaf, but he's over here spelling things in her hand, and she's like, ooh, hoo, hoo. She got, giggles in her coochie or something. And apparently it was when her teacher, she got sick. And so then suddenly this man comes in, and everybody, the family's like, we didn't even know that she had a man. I was like, how do you know she didn't have a man? She can't see or hear. Who is with her? Who is watching her? Her teacher is sick and her family's out to lunch? I have questions. But apparently it was a big scandal because her family did not think that she should get married, because get this, societally, it was frowned upon for disabled women to get married. And I'm like, oh, she's out here fighting for all women and all their rights, and she's an activist, and she's donating to the ACLU to save all the people of color. She's out here trying to save all the homeless and the toothless, and yet suddenly she wants to get married. She wants to be an independent woman of herself, and now we decide we're drawing the line on women's rights. Now she doesn't have a right to get married like she's one of the gays back in the 1900s. I have questions, but so whatever. Romeo and blind Juliet did not see the distance. The family intercepted, and poor Mr. Fagin didn't get to marry the love of his life. Which I don't know how you fall in love with somebody that's blind and deaf and you're teaching them things with your fingers. I have questions. But also, my biggest question is who is out there? Mandela is writing new script in the Matrix, because none of that, we didn't learn any of this in school. We just knew that the bitch was smart, okay? But now she's flying planes. She wrote 12 books, and she got a husband, an almost husband. She was Romeo and blind Juliet. Somebody is messing with the Matrix. Tomorrow we're gonna find out she had kids. I have questions. Okay, that is my rant about Helen Keller. You go, girl. But I have questions, and I feel like Mandela's going to go write some new script into the Matrix, and 48 hours from now, there's going to be some new news. But it's real. Google it. Google it. He lived in Alabama. Oh, man. Beth said, we just thought she learned the word water. No, you thought she was talking about water. She learned the word. He taught her wet. He taught her the meaning of wet, not water. You guys are like, oh, bitch is thirsty. Yeah, she was thirsty. She wanted you to leave her alone with her man. But also, how does a lady that is blind and deaf and can't communicate very well, how does she have a man? And her family was like, no, you can't marry the man. And it's like, oh, now you're letting her fly in the sky and she can't have a fucking man? At least he makes her happy. You know she didn't want to fly that damn plane. You know, they were like, hey, Helen, want to fly a plane? She wasn't like, yeah. She was not... She was blind, not dumb. I didn't say she was dumb. I just said she was, limited. But also, trust me, if they're telling her you have an option to fly in the sky or have a man teach you more with his fingers, she's going to, grunt towards the man. Lee says, they didn't teach us all this. We had school trips to her house. What did you find at her house? How does bitch have a house? That's what I want. How is she making all these donations to the the NAACP? She's making all these donations to support Black people and people of color when, again, hello, she's blind and not colorblind. She's fully blind, so she really doesn't see color. She's not like a white lady that's like, I don't see color. No, she literally doesn't see color, nor does she hear vernacular or accents or any of that. And then somebody was telling me that she had a British accent. How does she get a British? How do you moan in British? I just, Well, they let Katy Perry go to space. I don't know if Katy Perry really went to space. Now I have questions. Trust me, when you go down the rabbit hole, when Candace Owens says that she thought that space was fake and gay, I don't know. But I don't believe Helen Keller was out here doing the most. Sophie says she was really out there doing the most. She was. But also, how is she donating to the end? How is she making money? That's what I want to know. How is she making with her books? I don't think she was really writing those books. Listen, we didn't even need to lie on Helen like that. We could have let Helen girl live her life and be like, okay, she wrote a book. And I would have been like, you know what? That's pretty impressive enough. She can't see, she can't hear, but she wrote a book and a teacher helped save her. You know what? That's a pretty damn impressive story as it is. Then you added in 11 more books and a plane in the sky and a secret lover. Now I'm like, now we're stretching this story up. But someone went back into history and was like, let me punch this story up a bit. It's not nearly as exciting. What? Not nearly as exciting. Khaleesi says, British people are too polite, Zack. I mean, yeah. Good bitchin' lady says, ooh, Zack, come to the dark side of the rabbit hole. No, I was already falling down another rabbit hole this morning. I was like, I need to stop myself. I'm going to go crazy. But Solaris said maybe she time traveled. She got eye surgery and went back and did all these things. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Enrique says it's giving Riverdale finale. It is giving Riverdale season finale. It's like, all right, let's just, wrap up all these storylines and whatever. Helen is a CIA op. Yeah. Lee says, Steven Taylor from Aerosmith loves to visit Helen's house. It's about an hour from me. Okay, I want to go to Helen. Where is Helen? It's in Alabama? Because that's where they sequestered her to, right? Because she was fooling around with her secretary, Peter, whatever. She was fooling around with Peter. Well, actually, no, just his fingers. And they're like, Zack, don't you know? They were writing in her hand. They were writing apple, A-P-P. I'm like, she's fucking blind. How does she know how to spell apple? How does she know what an A looks like? How does she know what an apple looks like? She's blind. You can't. Like, that's like, next they're going to be like, duh, she was deaf. So they were doing sign language and she got sign language. Pick a finger, Barbara. It doesn't make sense. You know? Cheryl says, I heard Helen Keller created AI and cured cancer as the CEO of the NFL. Wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised. Gwen says, you wouldn't believe how many people still go on tours there. It's open daily. What are they touring, though? Like, what do you get to see? This is where she got fingered by her secretary? This is where she wrote one of her 12 books? Like, what? This is where she built the Underground Railroad? This is where she sat at the back of the bus? Like, what is on this tour? I'm very confused. It's in Tuscumbia, Alabama. You know what? I kind of feel like I know. How much are flights to Alabama? Where is it at? Okay, hypothetically, if I were to fly to Tuscumbia, Alabama, where would I fly into? What is the nearest airport? Where is the nicest hotel nearby? Can we stay in Helen's home? Because that's what I heard too, that like they sequestered her to somewhere in Alabama because they're like, you're hoeing around with your secretary and you're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be saving all the homeless and the toothless and you're out here, getting fingered by your secretary. They had to put her back in the closet. Do you have to close your eyes on the tour? That would be wise, right? That would be smart. They're like, here, put on these earmuffs and close your eyes and then live life like Helen Keller. Imagine if that was the whole tour and then you couldn't see or hear anything. You're just like, what? I just paid $60 to sit there in silence as somebody wrote apple in my damn hand. Sophie says, oh my God, her archival footage was lost on the Twin Towers. No wonder all the new stuff is being made up. Right? I forgot about that part of history too. Suddenly all her shit got blown up in 9/11. 9/11. Have you seen that video of the lady when she's singing? She's like, 9/11. Gwen said, I'm dying. It's actually done nicely. Her house? Did she decorate it herself? I'm sure that's part of her bio too. You walk into Helen Keller's home and they're like, this was her hand-picked decor. Here are some pots that she made with her bare hands. Field trip. Okay, so I would fly into Birmingham. And how far is Birmingham from Helen's home? Coming to Huntsville or Birmingham? Flying to Birmingham. Okay. Hursty Key says, whoa, this woman is a piece of work, right? Zack does history. Even through death, she's talented. Yeah. The ghost of Helen is going to get you. No, I bet you anything. The ghost of Helen is probably like, it's about damn time. These bitches been lying on my name for all these motherfucking decades. And now somebody's going to tell the truth. All I wanted to do was get fingered by my man. And my family locked me up in Alabama because suddenly Helen wanted to be a hoe. And Helen just wanted to live her best life. And they're out here putting her on airplanes. Uh-oh. Somebody's at my door. All right. Well, I guess this is where I wrap, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. And I will talk to somebody. Well, let's see. Hold on. I'll be right back. We're going to stay live in case somebody tries to murder me. Oh, okay. It's just my Parasite meds. They've arrived. I'm officially starting my Parasite cleanse, so I'll keep you on the low. I'm pretty sure I'll get a little loopier and crazy as the Parasite continues to die, and it's like, the Parasite's taking over my body. Oh, man. It's Helen's ghost coming for you. I haven't laughed this hard in a while. It's crazy when you think Helen has come knocking. It's Helen. You're like, oop, Helen's here. Zack, none of us are knowing where to send the police. Well, at least you would hear it and then it would be a story on the news. And that's how Helen Keller got him. It is just interesting because nobody ever comes up to my door because you have to get through like security and all the things. But I guess because they were a pharmacy delivery. Do they give me all my meds? Don't get murdered. I mean, I was hoping I wouldn't. I will lose it if Helen Keller is Candace Owens' neck top. It better not be. It better not be. When did the bottles start getting green? Have you guys noticed that? Weren't they always orange? Is that another Mandela effect? I don't get meds often, but I always remembered like prescriptions being in orange bottles, and now suddenly they're in green bottles. Zach, I have a guest stream. You could come live with me for free just to make me laugh, although we would most likely end up in jail. Well, that's not what we're trying to do. She was also a lecturer. Was she, though? See, here's my theory about Helen Keller. I think it was the Sullivan lady, the teacher, which, by the way, unsung hero of the story. She helped teach the blind and deaf lady how to fly a plane. Like that. First of all, how do you teach her how to fly a plane? That's what's crazy, too, because if you think about it, like they claimed they just put her in a plane one time and she flew for 20 minutes in the sky. But also, like, don't you have to teach her how to fly it beforehand? You don't just, plop a blind person behind the wheel of a plane and say, good luck. Like, you have to teach her at some point somehow, right? I don't know. I'm very confused. Very confused. And who is Peter? Peter, he was a journalist and he came to be her secretary for some reason. I don't really know. Here, I'll give you some fun facts. She was briefly married to a man named Peter Fagan in 1916. But in 1916, but I thought she flew the plane in 1946. That's like a 30-year time gap. Her family and her teacher, Anne Sullivan, were opposed to the marriage, and the engagement was broken off. Keller and Fagan planned to elope, but he never showed up, leaving Helen Keller heartbroken. What? He ghosted her? Oh my God. This bitch, you're going to come and teach her all the magic tricks with your fingers and then you're going to ghost her? Which, first of all, how is the blind and deaf lady eloping secretly out in the woods? She went to go meet him in the woods and he just never showed up. How do you do that? Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you leave the blind? First of all, how does she get into the woods? Number one. And number two, how do you ghost her and leave her in the woods? This is a plot twist I did not see coming. This is why she flew over that's why she flew over the ocean, Zach. Maha made them switch to green. Why? But why green? Oh, Google said that the green med bottles are biodegradable, or vet meds, or marijuana meds. Oh, so they're biodegradable. Got it. Makes sense. That's how she had time to write her books after, because she was so heartbroken. My stepdad was a pilot. I got to sit in the co-pilot seat when I was like 8 and fly the plane. It was so fun, but I did not actually fly the plane. Trish, they said she flew a plane. Trish is out here with like, I flew a plane at 8 years old. And what? But were you blind, Trish? Have you seen that TikTok where there's one girl and she's talking about how the streets were so hard, and then her friend in the background's like, well, the streets killed me. Look it up on TikTok. The streets killed me. Look that up and you'll get the reference. Oh, man. Oh, man. They're confusing Amelia Earhart. No, Amelia got lost at the sea. Helen made it. Is she back? That's why I was like, how did Amelia get lost and Helen made it back? And where in the bus was Helen sitting? That's what I want to know. And was she underground at any point? I can't believe Peter ghosted her. Peter's like, let me play with your coochie, and then now that your family don't like me, I'm going to ghost you. That's crazy. I can't believe she got ghosted. No, Amelia Earhart was not blind. She just got lost. To be honest, I don't know. That may be our next deep dive. Read or watch if you could see what I hear. The blind guy drives a car and saves his daughter's life. What? Guys, I'm not saying blind people can't do things. I'm just saying, I don't know. Gwen says the field trips in AL are tainted now from Zack's revelations. I mean, yeah, in Alabama. I did the same on a class trip. The pilot on a small plane told me to hold the controls and technically flew the plane. Yes, but that's recent with modern technology, guys, where you have a plane on autopilot. That's like being like, I drove a Tesla or I drove a Waymo. No, you didn't. You were in a self-driving Waymo because it was on autopilot or somebody else was there. They're saying Helen drove the plane through the sky for 20 minutes. And also, even if that did happen, then we don't need to be telling the American people that she was out there flying planes if she was like you at 8 years old. Is that going to be part of your history lesson? You're like, and one time I flew a plane. And that's going to be like in your obituary. Please. Please. Selena says, I'm here for it. Why do people get mad for just having questions? Keep asking, Zack. Yeah. Beth said that, that Helen Keller gave him syphilis. Oh, that's probably why she was such an advocate against syphilis. Thanks for making my morning. You're welcome, Josie. Helen Keller died at home in Connecticut at age 87. In Connecticut? I thought she lived in Alabama. Then why is her home museum in Alabama? I want to go to her Connecticut home. I want to see where she died. What in the Helen Keller is going on here? Blind people are driving, flying planes, writing books. I can't even do my own taxes. Right? Zack, you had me rolling last night with Helen Keller. Thank you. I needed this today. You are hilarious. I feel like I need to update the video now that we learned that she was ghosted. So he was a young reporter. He worked as her temporary secretary when her teacher got sick, and he learned how to communicate her with finger spelling into her hand. The engagement was discovered by the newspapers. Who told the newspapers? Which caused a scandal and led to the intense disapproval from Keller's family and society. So wait a minute. How did the newspapers find out that she was engaged and the family didn't even know that she was secretly engaged? Who is watching her? Listen, if you want to bring my brother back into it, he's not secretly out engaged somewhere because we're always with him. You know? You need to do another episode. Yeah, duh, she flew to Connecticut. The family sent her away to Alabama, and he never showed up for their planned elopement. Rude. Keller never saw him again and later wrote about the shattered love dream. However, she reflected that his love was a bright sun and called the time a little island of joy. She doesn't even know what the sun looks like. How does she know that he's like the bright sun? Let's see. Helen Keller's family forbade her from marrying her fiance, Peter Fagan, an ex-newspaper reporter who was working with her as her secretary because of her disabilities. Got it. And society of her time believed that women with disabilities shouldn't experience romance of any kind. Well, that's rude. You're letting the bitch fly a plane, but you won't let her fall in love? Rude. Why can't she fall in love? That's not very nice. I don't like that. Zack, you can feel the sun on your skin, no? And yeah. So she was like, ooh, he made me all hot inside, all warm inside, I guess. Listen, you checkmated me, girlfriend. Of course, she never saw him again. She never saw him in the first place. You guys are bad. You guys are bad. She had a son with Peter. No, she did not have a son that we know of. Don't start. Can we just agree that Monday should be for conspiracy theory rabbit holes? Listen, we can do a conspiracy theory of the month. That would be fun. No, she did not have a son. Not that we know. Society was tripping, right? They're like, lady, we're going to let you go raise money for the ACLU and you're going to travel to 40 different countries and you're going to write 12 books and you're going to save the prostitutes from syphilis. But where we draw the line is where you find love. Nope. That's where we say no, not going to happen. Man, we're all on the jet plane ship, the jet plane to hell. Yeah. She never saw him again. She never saw him to begin with. People who are legally blind may still have some vision. She wasn't legally blind. She was fully blind. She was illegally blind, fooling around with men. Helen, damn tarot cards, here I come. Yeah. And she was part of the 170 days. I know that's right. TMZ leaked the story. That's how her family found out. Yeah. I mean, I believe it. I certainly believe it. I fully believe that TMZ found out and TMZ told her family. And from there on, it was all done. I just think somebody, probably the teacher, was like, listen, let's just roll her around in a wheelchair and be like, she stands for women's rights. And that's kind of fucked up that they used her as like a show pony to stand up for all their social causes. And then like at one point they were like, yeah, she was for eugenics. I'm like, does she know what eugenics are? Is she out there like is she buying American Eagle jeans because she saw Sydney Sweeney has good jeans and she's like, yes, eugenics. Like people were just adding all sorts of additional hot sauce on Helen Keller, and she didn't. People were doing the most, you know, which inspired this. Helen Keller spotted at the No Kings rally over the weekend. Haters will say this is AI. Zack, you need Craig as a guest. Oh my God, that would be so fun. What are Craig's favorite conspiracy theories? She was totally used as a show. Yeah. That Sullivan lady was just using her left and right. And listen, if you're gonna use her, fine, but at least let her have her man. You know? Not the black and white photo. Well, they didn't have she couldn't see color. Susan the miracle worker. Long live Helen. I mean, she's been dead for a while, but sure. Wasn't she deaf and mute? Who was she talking to? She was blind, deaf. I mean, she technically wasn't mute. She just didn't know how to talk. You know? Isn't Craig a flat earther? Listen, I'm not saying that the flat earth theory is real, but I was going on a deep dive this morning. I was like, that's a weird theory. We need a monthly conspiracy. Yeah, maybe we'll do that on All Access, No Filter All Access. We'll just dive down different conspiracy theories. They're fun. Craig and his pandas. Oh, because pandas aren't real, right? Isn't that his thing? Pandas aren't real. Like a panda is not a real animal. Have you ever seen a panda though? Think about it. This is why it's great. Donna, I was telling Donna about Helen Keller. Donna did not like my deep dive on Helen Keller. She's like, Zack, no, this is dangerous. And next thing you know, you're going to be denying the Holocaust. I was like, Donna, I'm not going to deny the Holocaust unless the Holocaust wasn't real. Kidding, guys. Jokes. I'm not denying the Holocaust. Craig and his pandas. Yeah. With tinfoil hats. Yep. Conspiracy theories on full moons. What's the conspiracy theory on full moons? What? Keller was cremated, so no rolling around for her. She was cremated. That's interesting. How do you know she was cremated? Did you go to her house? The real house in Connecticut or the fake house in Alabama? That was not a real house. The Alabama house was not her real house because that's where they sent her. That's where she was sequestered because she couldn't have love because she was a disabled woman and they didn't believe disabled women deserve love. Pandas matter too. I agree. Are pandas real or they're not real? What is this conversation actually? I don't know. Max says vaccines will make you walk backwards. Only the COVID one. Get it right. She's in Washington Cathedral. Who left her in the cathedral? I thought she died at home. She was cremated and her ashes were taken to Washington Cathedral. Why? Huh. They were so mean to her. Right? The bitch probably didn't even want to fly the damn plane. It makes you question everything, right? I'm sure Rosa Parks, maybe she liked sitting in the back of the bus. Maybe that was her favorite seat. You know, when you go somewhere and you have your spot and that becomes your seat and your spot. And maybe, just maybe, she walked onto that bus and some other bitch, Becky, was in her seat. And she was like, oh, hell no, Becky, don't be sitting in my seat. You know what? Fuck this shit and fuck all of y'all. I'm sitting at the front. You never know, you know? Kate says, I love pandas and I love Craig. Yeah. Peter was available and he walked them to Washington. Oh, he finally came back. Susan says the cards say so. What do the cards say, Susan? Are you the one? Are you reading tarot cards? Oh, the cards say that they were that you needed the tarot cards to tell you that they were mean to Helen Keller. I could tell you that when they didn't let her live her life with her man. But also, to be fair, he ghosted her. So you know what? Fuck all of them. I'm back on Team Helen. They used her for her popularity. I don't know how. And says, not Rosa. They're coming for your neck. Thank you, Clark. Yes. Imagine what Helen could do now, right? With technology. Imagine if Helen was on TikTok. She does have an Instagram, by the way. If you guys want to follow the real Helen Keller, that shit is funny. This episode has been far more educational than any history class I took at school. Yeah. Yep. Joy says, Zack, don't go play bingo with old ladies. They will beat you up with their cane if you sit in their seat. Exactly. Maybe that's what triggered Rosa to sit at the front of the bus. She was like, you know what, Becky? Fuck you and your mama too. I'm sitting in the front, taking my seat. You never know. Team Helen. Yes. Team Helen. Helen would have been on the moon if she was here today. I know that's right. Could have had Helen Keller, and instead we get Gypsy Rose. I mean, Gypsy's pretty iconic in her own right. Like, she executed the mission, you know? If only we had her an unknown caller. All right. This is where I leave you because this episode has gone on way too long. But what a fun chat, right? Leave a comment, leave a review, do all the things. I'm sure all the crazies will be there and be like, now he's peddling conspiracy theories. All right. Ableist. Love you. Appreciate. Give me a follow. Just hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Follow me at Just Been Zack. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack and catch new episodes in No Filter streaming live on YouTube and on X weekday mornings, and also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the places you get your podcasts. You can sign up for ad-free episodes on No Filter All Access via Supercast. There's a link in the description below if you would like to join. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. I will talk to you tomorrow. All right. Ciao for now.